I recently had the realization that I often feel like I just don't have my life together. And if you clicked on this video, then I'm sure you probably felt like this at some point before too. And I think it's easy to feel this way nowadays, especially for younger people. We tend to put all this crazy pressure on ourselves to have the perfect job, the perfect partner. We want every area of our life to be going perfectly to plan, and essentially we expect ourselves to have everything figured out by the time we turn 30. And if not, we consider ourselves a failure and we start feeling like we're falling behind in life. That can all feel very overwhelming and make you feel like everyone else must just be doing better than you. Everyone else must have it figured out, and there must be something that you're missing because you just can't seem to get your life together. But here's the thing I'm realizing. No one really has it all together. No one really knows exactly what they're doing and exactly what the outcome will be. Most of us are just learning as we go, and truthfully, I think that's kind of the best we can do. As long as we're continuously finding ways to learn and grow through all of our experiences in life, good and bad, and learning how to ride the waves of life, I'm pretty sure we're doing it right. We just have to keep going, keep moving forward, and it'll all make sense eventually. But until then, here are some things that I think can be really helpful if you've been feeling a little bit lost, a little bit overwhelmed, and just struggling to get back on track, because that does and will happen from time to time. Number one is to refresh and clean your space. So if you're like me and you struggle with being a little bit disorganized, chaotic, scatterbrained, it might be helpful to spend some time decluttering and cleaning your space. So this could mean tidying up your desk a little bit, putting things back in their designated place, decluttering an area that you've been meaning to clean up for a while and maybe you've been putting it off. Something that I especially struggle with is cleaning up my computer files. Anything digital is a lot for me. So the other day I dedicated like a full 2 hours to just going through my computer files, deleting everything I don't need, backing up things that are extra important. And honestly, now that it's done, even though it took a while and it was kind of a grueling process, but I'm so glad that it's done, especially because I've been putting it off for so long. Number two, prioritizing your health and taking care of your body. So something I've been working on is eating a little bit healthier wherever I can, choosing to make healthier meals at home, and being more mindful of the food that I'm eating and even the food that I'm buying at the grocery store. I've started to really notice how the food I eat affects my body and even the way I work and like my mood. So I've been trying my very best, especially recently, to just make healthier choices with food overall, and not only food but also getting more exercise. Since I am someone that works from home and I spend a lot of time sitting in front of a camera or in front of a computer screen, I know how important it is to move my body and be active as much as I can throughout the day. Squeezing in a couple of 5-minute stretches throughout the day or before you go to sleep at night can make a big difference. And speaking of sleep, that is another area that could use some work for me personally. Sometimes it's hard to get a full, good night's sleep, but it is very important and it can make a big difference in how you feel throughout the day. And to me, all of that wraps up into just being mindful about how you're treating your body, how you're taking care of your health, because that is one of the most important, valuable things that we have. So we better take care of it. Number three is being more mindful of how you're spending your time. Not only how you're spending your time, but also where you're directing your energy. I think it's so easy to slip back into bad, unhealthy habits if you're not being mindful about those habits when you're doing them. So keep in mind which habits you're doing that are just not helping you, and which habits you can start doing or keep doing that actually help you have a better experience throughout the day. And also, if you're spending too much time overthinking, over analyzing, this can also hold you back in a lot of ways. I think some amount of thinking and analyzing is obviously important, but if we're overdoing it to the point where it's just keeping us stuck in the mud, that's not very productive. So I think there's just a lot of value in being more mindful, being present, and not only worrying about the past or the future constantly. Number four, positivity. The power of positivity is crazy. Being able to shift your mindset and try to see things from a more positive perspective, which I know is a lot easier said than done, and it may not even work in all situations, but just being positive and having a positive outlook, this can make an unbelievable difference in the way that you experience things in life. Along with positivity, I also think it helps a lot to fall in love with the journey and not only the outcome or the results. If you're so focused on the way that something turns out and you don't enjoy the journey in the process, you might reach that end result and then not even find yourself being that satisfied, because the journey is where all the experiences, all the lessons are, all the joy often is. Whereas that outcome is more of just a moment. I think something that can help to fall more in love with the journey and the process is to trust yourself. Trust your gut instinct and your feelings of, if you need to rest, then rest. If you need to pivot, then pivot. Trust yourself to do whatever needs to be done in the process. I think that helps the whole journey and the whole process feel a lot more enjoyable, more positive, and more efficient overall. Number 5, writing things down. Arguably writing everything down. Any ideas, any thoughts, any feelings that you want to get out and even just process, get those onto paper, because there's something so helpful in putting your thoughts into actual words that you can visually look at. I feel like it just makes it all make way more sense when you see it physically or visually, rather than driving yourself crazy trying to make it make sense in your mind, you know? Because again, from a fellow scatterbrain, that doesn't always work. Sometimes it just gets a little too chaotic in there. And this is where the practice of daily journaling comes in, which is actually something very new to me. I've never really done this in the past, but I've been trying lately to just write down any thoughts, any feelings, any ideas that I have, instead of letting them ruminate in my head so much. And I really find that this is helpful. I think for me personally, this has helped me understand myself a little bit better, only with doing this like a handful of times. I really have just started this, but I think there's something about journaling and reading your own writing that helps you connect with yourself on a deeper level, and it helps you process some things that you maybe weren't able to just by thinking about them harder. It's also really helpful if you struggle with staying present or enjoying the journey, enjoying little everyday moments, even though they seem so mundane in the moment. Practicing gratitude and writing a few things down that you're grateful for, this can help a lot when it comes to staying present, which I find to be incredibly valuable. Number 6, last but not least, stop living in fear. Fear of not being good enough, fear of failure, fear of judgment. I think the fear of putting yourself out there and stepping out of your comfort zone really can hold you back in so many ways. It can also make you feel very isolated. So I think the opposite of living in fear looks like spending a little bit less time in your own head, less of that overthinking and ruminating. And don't get me wrong, it is important to spend time with yourself and connect with yourself and check in and make sure that you're allowing yourself to rest when you need to. And even just giving yourself time to self-reflect. But I've realized more and more that it's also very important to step out of your comfort zone, put yourself out there, connect with people, connect with the world. And I think once you start doing this, you'll realize that we're all just humans doing our best, and we're all going through the same thing, just in different ways, which is actually a really comforting thought, at least to me. So I feel like this video was a lot longer than I intended it to be, but truthfully, the moral of the story is, I don't think you need to get your life together. You just need to live. I mean, that's really the only reason why we're here, right? If we spend all our time thinking and worrying and stressing and living in fear, then we won't really be living at all. I think life is about experiences and then sharing those experiences with the world and with the people that you love. And to do that and to have those experiences, we need to put ourselves out there and not be so stuck in our own heads, not be so afraid to try new things and do something just for fun, just because we enjoy it. So whatever you're going through right now, just know that you're not alone. We're all in this together, and even though your story might not make sense right now, I think eventually it will. So stop worrying so much about trying to get your life together and just get out there and live. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.